Good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 284. We are close to the weekend. A big weekend for Wisconsin collectors. We've got the big Wisconsin Dells 3-day show this weekend. I think it goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm excited for it. I'm going to go up on Saturday and as a buyer looking for Cubs, maybe dig through some quarter boxes, some dollar boxes. We'll see. And I get to catch up with some vendors that I haven't seen in almost 2 years. So I'm excited to partake in the Wisconsin Dells show this week, and only 1 week away from my show, the Madison Sheraton show. Got some publicity out of our NBC affiliate here in Madison this week. So that was pretty cool. And hey, Target's no longer selling. Well, they're putting a pause on selling sports cards. So for Madison collectors, hey, you can't get cards at Target. You can next weekend at the Madison Sheraton, May 22nd, 9 to 3. My quarter boxes, my goal was over 50,000 quarter cards. And just looking at how many penny sleeves I still have left, I may fall short of that, but I'm pretty close to 50,000, and I still have some boxes to dig through. I just don't know. I want to get them somewhat sorted into the certain boxes. So that's kind of been my focus as far as putting those together. Less sleeving, more organizing, I guess. What's up, George? Good morning, Mark. So that's kind of what's up. So big news yesterday. Target I keep saying no longer. Target putting a pause on selling cards, and I have so many questions. None can be answered yet. Good morning, Craig. So there were some around social media, there were some signs being floated about that Target was going to put a pause effective May 14th, which is tomorrow, Friday, a typical stock day at Target, putting a pause on baseball, football, basketball, Pokemon, and I think that was it. So poof, they're gone. Who knows how long that's gonna last? But it was interesting nonetheless. And at first I was skeptical because we've seen signs like this floated about on social media, and they're basically printed from home. Joe Schmo prints a sign and hangs it at Target and says, hey, look at this. Look at what was at my Target. Well, guess what? That's the only Target it was at because some rogue collector made the sign himself and hung it himself and took a picture. Not hard to do. So I was skeptical. We've seen it before. What's up, Zach? And I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it. So then there were a couple more that popped up. I'm like, well, maybe there's when there's smoke, there's fire. I'm not going to believe it with one sign. What's up, Herman? But if I start seeing multiple signs from like reputable, not just like random Twitter eggs with their profile, but people that we can trust, or people that we know. And then I went on my, so I go to the post office typically during my lunch, and Target's on my way. So I'm like, I'm just going to pop into Target and just to check things out for myself. So it was about 1:00 yesterday afternoon. And I walked in, and of course there were no sports cards on the shelves, but there were a couple signs, but they were the old signs. What's up, Jeremy? George is going to go out and make a sign himself. There were signs, but they were the one per, like they hadn't updated to the new sign. So at this point I had still, what's up, Brad? At this point I was still, maybe there's some truth to it, but we'll see. Maybe it's just certain stores are saying they're not gonna do it anymore. But I didn't know if it was going to be Target wide. So later in the afternoon, ripping one-handed Ryan here in Madison, He checked. It was actually the store that I went to. He checked with them in the afternoon. They said yes, they confirmed it. It was confirmed by Target on Twitter. Somebody posted and they replied yes, and basically the same thing the sign said. So it's true. Target putting a pause on baseball, football, basketball, Pokemon cards. Hey, if you're a hockey collector, you're in luck. UFC, which is going to be hot because I think Prism is out or coming out. NASCAR. So hey, if you're one of those collectors, you're in luck. So now I have like, and some people say that retail, this is the end of retail. I say no. In 2025, we're going to look back and we're going to laugh, and we're going to laugh and cry. We're going to cry because we remember the good times in the hobby. If you're having a good time now, if you're not having a good time now, if you're disgruntled with the hobby right now, maybe in 2025 you'll be happy again, because it's going to go back to what we saw a few years ago. It's just everything is cyclical. And it seems to go in 30-year runs. Baseball cards were huge in the early to mid 50s, when Topps, started creating the baseball card sets. Then it was just kind of, it was still, baseball cards were still around in the 60s and 70s, but they weren't like they were. They started to build some steam, and then all of a sudden, guess what? 30 years later, the early 80s, we saw another hobby boom. And that lasted about a decade into the early 90s. And guess what? 92, all of a sudden, boop, and here we are 30 years later. So what's up, Dub? Bring back Pacific and I'll be happy. And George says it was getting ridiculous. Yeah, and actually probably the cherry on top was last week's incident, which happened just not far from me in Milwaukee, about 90 minutes away. Probably put things over the top for Target. So I think retail as we know it, it's gonna be different for a while. It's gonna return because the hobby it's cyclical, and eventually, I thought this boom was gonna end by now. But I was way off on that, because it still seems like that trajectory. We've got reality shows coming out. We've still got a lot of buzz. So now that trajectory, I think it's not a fast trajectory, but it's slowing down. I don't know if we're at the peak yet. Maybe we're on the downhill slide. I don't know, but I think it's eventually going to come back down. I think we're still going to be able to get cards at Target. And by 2025, this craze is gonna, a lot of the kids, and here's just, this is my own opinion, my own speculation. So it is cyclical because life happens. I bet every one of us in the chat has taken somewhat of a break from the hobby. I have multiple times in my life. I started as a kid in 88, 89. And then by 93, well, I went to basketball cards. So by like 95, that's when I got into wrestling, and I wasn't really into cards. Kind of got back into it in the late 90s. And then by the time I went to college, boom, I was done. And took a few years off, came back in. And then it kind of went, by 2012, it was to where I am, just in a wall of cards. I think a lot of the flippers that are in it right now, short lifespan, because a lot of us are going to be going back to our normal lives. There's going to be a lot of people that came into the hobby because they were cooped up at home, and they're going to find other ways to spend that money, like going to sporting events, going to concerts, going on vacations, and they're going to leave because they were just they were coming in because they had nothing else to do, and they're going to leave. There's going to be, life happens. There's going to be those kids that are in high school right now. You saw, I talked about it yesterday, Logan, L. Wingate Cards, selling his cards to pay for college. Awesome. I love it. I still love it. You're going to see that. And it's not just to pay for, you're not going to see the high school kids that are in it paying for college, but you're also going to see the high school kids because things come along in college that you didn't really experience in high school. And, you're going to put those cards in the closet because you don't want those girls coming over to your apartment, thinking you're a kid collecting baseball cards. At least that's how I saw it when I went to college. So you're going to see some of that. And so I think we're going to eventually see this, this kind of downhill. And then in a few years, we're going to walk into Target in 2025 and we're going to laugh because there's going to be Topps Heritage and there's going to be opening day, and there's going to be, there's probably still going to be the Prism basketball that's going to be sold out, but you're going to see a lot of the products. And, we're going to laugh. May 2021, 4 years ago, they were fighting and pulling guns to get a blaster box of cards. You're going to go on the blowout forums and they're going to be retail's garbage, hobby only, just like they were 4 years ago. If cards came with beer. Mark Hoyle, you nailed it. They did it with cigarettes 125 years ago. What if they put cards with beer? I'd have even more cards than what I have now. So I'm missing out on some of the chat. So that's kind of my my little retail. I think retail's always okay. So my questions are, I'm gonna check the chat. So here's my questions, and I don't think anybody can answer these right now. I don't even know if Target. Well, I'm sure Target can answer these now because some of these they could, because I wonder if it's really a safety issue. So I'm gonna get to my speculation in just a moment. I start looking for Georgia players and Dub shows up. Junk Wax rules all. Pacific introduced Prism, and yes, Crown Royal was there at one time. I hear Ben Cleveland's name in the atmosphere. What's up, Diego? Diego would be the biggest drunk ever. Need to start packing rubbers in the Topps packs. What if cards came in beer? I don't know about that. One time I took a sip of Pepsi and there was like something foreign. I took in something foreign from taking a swig of Pepsi, and it was it was like a piece of a paper towel, like those like industrial paper towels. This was like this was in like the mid 90s. I was a kid. But I was like pretty grossed out by Pepsi for a long time and I was like, I would be like shaking it and looking, and that's like the worst when you start to ingest something that you're not expecting, and it's brown paper towel, industrial paper towel. So Brad's comment made me shiver thinking of that paper towel that from Pepsi in 1994. DJ from Panini said last night on Beckett Live that in multiple states, collectors placed trackers on vendors' cards to track them in the city. That's a safety issue. Holy cow. That's stalking. That's wow. I'll have to go back. Thanks, Dub, for mentioning that. I'll have to go check that podcast out. What's up, Jeremy? Big slow pitch softball game tonight. Haven't played ever and played baseball in 4 years. Any word? Finding a worm after biting into an apple and seeing only half a worm. Ugh. So cars. Yeah. Okay. So that's my thought. So, and DJ's from Panini that Dub mentioned, and he put out a statement because there was that like false statement that was released last week. That was why I was so skeptical yesterday when I first started seeing this sign. And I think the first instance of the sign I saw was like it was trimmed, like it wasn't even, it was just like the actual sign. It wasn't like posted. So I was super skeptical. But then I started seeing it in the stores, and I'm like, and then all of a sudden it's like, yep. And then Target came out last night. So there was something that came out last week, and DJ from Panini came out and actually addressed, hey, no, this is false. We still have a relationship with the distributors and Target, Walmart. DJ also said the Target thing was temporary and they were in constant contact. They're trying to figure out a better way to deliver cards in the store. We'll see. So that's awesome. I'm going to go back. So Beckett Live, I'm going to check that out at some point today. So Dub, thanks for that. I did not know that was on last night. So I will check that out. And that kind of brings me into what's going to happen. And it is temporary. Like even the verbiage that, it's like a temporary pause. So what's going to happen in the interim where all these cards, how long is this pause? Is this just like a 2-week breather, or like, is this just going to be the end of the month? And then we're going to, and like Dub said, like they said on the podcast, how can they better deliver the cards in the store? Because, and I'm thinking of ways, and there was a great, on Twitter last night, Yanks Chick, YANX Chick, Suze, does card chats and had some excellent questions about this, this situation with Target. And, one of the things is, what's the best way to deliver cards from, Target, Walmart? And I was like racking my brain. I don't know. Like, you put it to 1 per, that's not working. How much effort do you want to put into getting cards to consumers? Because you go down that rabbit hole and like, okay, we can do this, this, and this. And it's like, well, we have to pay people, how much extra goes into it to do that, where you want to sell the product, but you don't want to take a loss, unless you see it as a loss leader. But then you're looking, if I'm, on the, looking at the books at Target, and I'm saying, we're taking a loss on sports cards, but we're selling them for $20, and the consumer is then reselling them for $100. Yet we're taking a loss. That's not right. Let's capitalize. So can they do that? So that's another question I have. Can Target, so you see the third-party vendors through Target and Walmart's website, Toy Wiz, for example, and you see the markups on Toy Wiz, like a blaster box for $50, but you can get it at Target for $20. Herman, I'm gonna circle back to your comment, because I thought about that. So can they sell to Toy Wiz, and can they mark? Okay, so we've got this back stock from the month of May. We're gonna sell hockey, NASCAR, and whatever else people don't pull guns out for, and we're going to sell these to a third party, Toy Wiz, and we're not going to charge $20. We're going to charge $40, and then Toy Wiz can sell them for $60. Can they do that, and at what level? Does XL, since we're talking Target, does XL own that product? They put it on the shelves, but yet Target sells it. Like, I don't know the logistics on how, where that changes like how that changes hands, because everything's shipped to Target. Like, the boxes of cards are actually shipped to each Target store. So are they going to reroute and everything stays in the hub in, I think it's Des Moines? Everything, all I gotta say is Toy was, are they going to just ship it to the product is going to be shipped to Des Moines, to Target. Des Moines ships them out to, say Toy Wiz or the third party. Like, can they do that? Like, that's a question I have. So I'm going to go back to, it'll be interesting to see what happens to the stuff that was in transit. So Brad brings up a good question. What happens to the stuff that was in transit? So there was something that was leaked. And again, I take it with a grain of salt, but now where there's smoke, there's fire. We have fire. It's true. So is this memo, this internal memo, Is that true? And there's an internal memo that I saw floating on Target. I don't want to share it because I don't know if it's real or fake. But it basically said their Target stores will still be getting shipments, but they need to hold them in like a back room with camera coverage. And then they'll stop, and then I think they'll stop getting, future shipments. They'll stop sending them out in the future. It does sound legit. Like, I'm always careful on what I believe and what I see on the internet. But now that everything has kind of come together, I kind of there's truth in it. And I work in supply chain and in logistics for my day job, and based on kind of what, and I kind of know the background on where this stuff is shipped to based on my day job. I think there's some truth to that. In some sense. So I want to go back to Herman's comment about they should have mixed their stock days. I thought about this yesterday as I was driving back from Target, and I'm thinking the vendor in my area, like I've known his schedule for years, just because I'd bounce over to a certain Target looking for a mega box and say 2018, and I'm going to go on my lunch, and at 12:30 he's at Hilldale Target. And so I go back the next week. I'm just going to run to Target to see, we've got, people at the house. So I'm just going to run to Target, open cards at my lunch in the parking lot at lunch. And it's 12:30 on a Friday. Guess what? There's the vendor. He's got a pretty regular schedule. And he did end up flip-flopping the schedule, but it was still on Fridays. And some of the stuff, like back before this boom, you would find XL boxes right next to the card section, The sealed XL boxes were right there. And they were there. Sometimes I had a buddy in town. We wanted to rip some product, and this was probably 2018, 2019. Donruss baseball had just come. It was like the only new baseball product. And so I wanted to open some baseball. My buddy's a football fan, so he bought whatever football product was out. And there was a ton of football on the shelf. There were boxes. I knew Donruss baseball was probably in there. So I asked somebody, I'm like, hey, can you open this box? I want to buy some boxes. And they're like, no, only the vendor can do that. I'm like, okay. I would have bought 3 blaster boxes of Donruss. But guess what? He wouldn't open it. That time had passed. And I didn't open any Donruss baseball. He lost 3 sales, and it probably went to clearance or whatever, because this was far before this boom. So that was my question. Why did he always stick to that Friday schedule? Why couldn't he mix up the schedule? I don't know. And I think some vendors did. Switch it up. Let's do it on a Wednesday night, because I know my vendor, like, just in talking with him, great guy. He mentioned, yeah, I stocked, this Target on Wednesday night. And so, like, it was done in the past. So I don't know if, how their routes work or whatever. Or he just says, I don't care, screw it. While other vendors are probably like, I'm sick and tired of this. They're putting trackers on my vehicles, which is, Jesus, that's crazy. Dub says Panini has raised box prices because their partners saw money left on the table. I hadn't thought of that angle. NFL gets paid royalties from box sales, no royalties from the secondary market. Yeah, there's so much money being lost by pretty much every level. You talk about royalties from the NFL. They're losing money. The card companies, they're selling to, take Panini. They're releasing these, selling these to XL for, whatever, $7 a box or $6, whatever the black, whatever the wholesale price is. And then, Target's selling them for $20, and the flippers are selling them for $100. And it's like, you're sitting back and you're Panini, and you're looking at the secondary market on Prism Basketball, and you're Target or you're XL, and you're throwing your hands in the air. Where's my cut? Going back, the wholesale price at the beginning is probably, I don't know, $8 maybe for a $20 blaster box. And then you see these going for $150, $200. And it's like, geez, where's my money? Well, where's my cut? Brad said, let's see. I gotta go up here. Brad said I tried to get an MJ Holding wholesale account, and they got a very responsive no from them. They will hold them until the employees sell them out the back door. That's not going to happen. We're going to see some Ocean's 11 type stuff with those card rooms at Target. Target going to be hoarding them blasters and driving them prices up. More from the DJ interview. He said that's why Walmart hasn't had the extracurricular issues. He said that most Walmarts mix up their schedule. Interesting. I would not doubt it. We're creatures of habit. Walmart vendors are also allowed to stock after hours. Target is not. Interesting. So that's an interesting point. George says Toy Wiz selling them for $150 while they're still on site for $20. I will say, in some defense of Toy Wiz, they had some great prices on. Was it? I think it was Topps Series 1. The retail boxes, and they were a little more than I wanted to pay, but everything was going up, so I ordered like 4 boxes, and it was like the best price online actually, and they never came, so I canceled my order. They gave my money right back. Like it was so hey, we can crap on Toy Wiz, but they refunded me like instantly. Like I said, hey, I don't want this anymore. I want my money back. They gave me my money back like boom, like snap, like 3 seconds later. Of course, then I looked at their website. Say I bought them for $80. They were $110. They just wanted more money. Like, let's just hold these back, and this guy's gonna cancel, and we can spike the price. But hey, I was happy. They refunded my money instantly. Topps is produced out the wazoo. I just wanted to rip Topps like the first week. I didn't want to rip it like now when every other product is out. So I was pretty happy that they refunded my money in such a quick fashion. I figured it would be like pulling teeth, and I'm never gonna, they're gonna hold my money hostage for a month. But that was not the case. They refunded that money in a snap. I was happy. Dude in charge that day probably got drunk. Dub says all of our local Walmarts were 24 hours until the pandemic. Now they all close at 11. Same with Herman. Most of them around here open 24/7. I'm not sure. I have more Targets near me than Walmarts. So there's one Walmart close to me and it's not a super Walmart. It's like a normal Walmart with a grocery section. It's not a regular Walmart. It's not a super Walmart. It's a great Walmart. I get a great value is like their name brand, but it has a grocery section, but it's not a super Walmart. They close at like 9 or 10, but they've always closed like at 9 p.m. And then there is a big super Walmart that's kind of a drive, like 20 minutes away. I think they're open 24/7. I like rarely go out. The only time I would go out there was for cards, and I haven't been searching for retail in the last several months, so I haven't been out there, but I think they're 24/7. What's a Walmart and Target? We got an E-Mart and Home Plus, and neither have a blaster in sight. About to have 4 super Walmarts around me in a 25-mile radius. Wow. We have 2 super Walmarts. One of them's kind of way out on the east side. It's probably a 30-minute drive. Then there's Monona. So I have 2 super Walmarts and a regular Walmart within a half an hour, and then 3 Targets. And the Targets are all within, I think the furthest Targets away is probably 15 minutes. One of them's like 4 minutes if I hit the lights right. So that's my talk on Target. I think I think it like the wording is, it's temporary. Who knows what happens to the product? What happens when, say they put a 1 month freeze on it or 3 weeks. What happens to all the product that was supposed to be shipped like in that time? But I guess they're holding back shipments, so it's not like they're going to have a wall of wax in some back room at Target. but how do they distribute that excess buildup? Oh, we're going to sell the Toy Whiz. What are your thoughts on the current print runs? I haven't, like, print runs seem to have been increasing the last few, like even before 2020. It seems like just in following, I don't look at print runs too much. But just in kind of like Brenton Becca, like reading some of his tweets, it seems like things have been escalating and continue to escalate. And I think we'll probably see increased print runs. And then because right now I still think we're in the height, and I think there's so much. It's like the hobby is a freight train right now. And we talked Dubs Saturday night, hobby roundtable. So I thought, and I said it earlier, I was way wrong that by the end of 20, things were going to go back to normal. That was way wrong. Everybody's going to go back and boom, hobby is crashing. Didn't happen. Hobby is still booming. We're still building momentum. Now guess what? I saw an article this morning. The Athletic, I think it was The Athletic, picked up the Target story. And now national news, the hobby, look how hot the hobby is. Target, a huge retailer, is pausing baseball card sales because it's so crazy. What's up, Dan? That's a big newsmaker. There's a reality show coming out. I don't know. I'll have to look. I can't remember. Is that on like a network? Is it on like A&E or History? If it is, that would be huge. So we keep seeing this momentum. The momentum, it keeps building. It is going to end. I thought by now it would have ended. A year ago I would have said, oh yeah, by summer 2021 it's going to be. We're going to be going into Target. Target's going to be filled with cards. Quite the opposite. Oh yeah, that's the Ken Golden reality show. Yeah. So hopefully that's on like A&E. That would be if A&E picks it up. That would be awesome. Does that mean Suze will be on it? Oh, that's quite possibly. She works for Golden now. So the hobby is just it just, when I think, okay, maybe we're seeing a lull, something pops off and here we go again. So it's going to be interesting to see what the future holds. I still think as the nation opens back up more and more, I think we're going to see a decrease in demand. It's cyclical and it just, that's the way life happens. So yeah, we'll see. Awesome talk. Thanks for the chat. This weekend I will be at the Wisconsin Dells show on Saturday, and Saturday night, as Herman mentioned, we'll be doing Hobby Roundtable on Herman's channel, 3B Collection, 7 p.m. Central Saturday night. Looking forward to that. I can give you an update because this Wisconsin Dells show is going to be the biggest show here in the Midwest since probably the Chicago Spectacular in November of 19. Because we've been pretty much, obviously last year we were shut down. Wisconsin and Illinois haven't had any big shows. So this is, I think they have capacity for 300 tables. So I think it starts tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday show in the Dells. Wisconsin Dells is a cool place. I've only been a few times to the Dells, and it's like 40 minutes away from me. I have like friends and family that drive like 4 hours twice a year to the Dells, and here I am 40 minutes away. I don't have kids either, so that's, there's a lot of water parks and stuff like that. But I'll go for baseball cards, and they have some pretty good restaurants up there too. So I'll go for the steaks and the baseball cards. Looking forward to make it to my first show this year. This is going to be my second show, and the first show that I went to was the one that I promoted. So this will be my first is just going in and buying. So I'm looking forward to that, and I can give everyone a report on Saturday night on Hobby Roundtable, 7 p.m. Central on the 3B Collection channel. Brad is with us. Welcome back from Vegas. He was even watching soccer, I see. Brad, I did catch your show yesterday. I think I saw your tweet later in the day. I wasn't live for you, but I caught it in the afternoon. So check Brad out over on the Texas Card Dude channel. He'll be going live soon. I may actually have to make a Dunkin' run this morning because I think I'm out of coffee. I have just a little bit left, and I don't know if I can squeeze it all in. So I may have to make a Dunkin' run this morning, but I'm going to try to get the coffee brewed, and not have to go and buy coffee. So that's what I had for today. Time to make the donuts. That's right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a great Thursday, and we'll chat tomorrow.